On page 5 in your notebook, I'd like you to write with me. My two colors are black and blue. This is the last part of NS3. We've already done add, subtract, and multiply decimals. Now we are ready for dividing decimals, which makes sense. We worked on regular division and division with remainders, and now we're ready to divide decimals. If this is too fast, you can always pause it. We're just going to do some example problems. Some of these might look familiar after you watched my number talk. The first example is 0.8 divided by 0.4. Remember, the first number goes in, the second number goes out. I want to leave a space for my answer, come down another line so that I can write 0.8, that's on the inside, divided by 0.4. And just like we talked in that number talk, you cannot have a decimal on the outside of your problem. So you need to move it over so that it's a whole number. If you're moving it over 1, it's like taking it times the power of 10. Whatever you do to the outside, you got to do to the inside. So you move it over, and I like to make the new decimal a little bit bigger so now I can see which direction I moved it. The decimal goes straight up in your answer, straight up into your answer. 4 times 2 is 8, subtract, and you are done. Your answer is 2 or 2 point, but it's really just 2. Draw a little box here. The next example I'm going to do over to the right. The example is 8 divided by 0.4. Remember, first one in, second one out. Leave a space for your answer. Come down another line. We have 8 divided by 0.4. Notice I'm tracing the blue line. I'm writing in the spaces nice and neat. Out here, can I have a decimal out here? No. I need to move it over 1 so that it becomes a whole number. So instead of 0.4, I now have 4. And in here, 8 is a whole number. The decimal is actually behind it. I need to move it over, make a newer one here, bigger. Need to fill in a 0, and this decimal can go straight up into our answer. And now you're ready to divide. 4 goes into 8 2 times. It gives you exactly 8. Subtract and bring down. 4 goes into 0 0 times. And you will not have a remainder. And your answer is 20. 20 point is still just 20. I'm going to do a couple more examples here in our notes. The next example is 0.80 divided by 0.04. Remember, the first one goes in, the second one goes out. Skip a line for your answer and come down so that you're writing here. We had 0.80 divided by 0.04. And we cannot have a decimal out here. How many times do we need to move the decimal over? We need to move it over twice so that it's behind our number to make it a whole number. That's like taking it times 100. Whatever you do to the outside, you got to do to the inside. So you move it over twice. Make it a bigger decimal. That's the new one. Bring it up into your answer. So it looks like 04, but it's really just 4. 4 goes into 8 2 times. We get 8. Subtract. Bring down the 0. 4 goes into 0 0 times. Subtract, and you end with zeros. Your answer is 20. 20 point. Still 20. I'd like to do another example. Get away from those numbers. I'm going to give you some different numbers this time. I'm going to write it like this. 0.9 divided by 0.3. And we'll see if you can maybe work ahead of me on this problem. Can't have a decimal on the outside, so you need to move it over. Make a bigger one here. So you now have 3 instead of 0.3. Whatever you do to the outside, you have to do to the inside. Go straight up. 3 goes into 9 3 times. I get 9 and subtract with 0. My answer is 3 or 3 point. You don't need to put the point. Let's do one more example, one that might be a little more difficult. The last example, 0.56 divided by 0.04. Remember, this one goes in, this one goes out. Leave a space for your answer. Come down another line. 0.56 divided by 0.04. Now we can't have a decimal on the outside, so we have to move this over twice, make it bigger. So now 004, but it's really just 4. If you move it twice on the outside, you have to move it twice on the inside. Make it bigger here. Straight up into your answer, and you've got your place value holders if you need them. 4 does not go into 0. They put an X there. 4 goes into 5 one time. It gives you 4, and then you subtract, trace the blue line. I get 1, bring down the 6. 4 goes into 16 4 times. I get exactly 16. Subtract, and I end with zeros. My answer is 14 with a decimal behind it. The homework you're going to do to practice this particular standard is a worksheet. It is called Practice 1-9, and you are going to do numbers 1 through 19 odds, very similar to what you did on the other decimal worksheets. Write that in so you know what you're going to do for homework.